Well, we're back in the kitchen now, speaking of creative, with pastry chef Lindsay Brooks. She's pastry chef at the season, does her own catering, need a cake for a special occasion, do a lot of weddings these days.
Yep, I have a lot of the different things, personal chefing, so.
Yeah, busy lady. So I called her up and said, we need a baklava recipe, and I've never made it myself. I absolutely love it, but I would be scared to death to make it at home because it seems really complicated.
It's really not. As long as
Really?
you work with phyllo, you'll be okay.
All right, if you say so. But baklava, if you haven't had it before, well, describe it to people.
You know, it's an interesting dessert. It's very crunchy. It's a little bit dry in texture, but it's soaked in a syrup. So you get the sweetness from that, but then you get the tartness from those nuts. And this one has bittersweet chocolate in there to kind of complement it a little bit. So.
Yeah, I love it. My husband Bob loves it. I remember having it in Greece and the honey just dripping all over my face, and I was like, I need a napkin. So anyway, all right, phyllo dough. Find this in the freezer section of your grocery store.
Yep, a couple bucks, pick it up. Let it thaw before you use it. So definitely go and buy this the day before, put it in the refrigerator, let it thaw out before you go to work with it.
Okay, thawed in the fridge, not on the counter.
Right, in the fridge will be better.
I think so too. I have worked with phyllo dough before. It's a little tricky.
It's a little tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not so bad. And if you get yourself set up right, it will go much smoother than trying to work in a small little kitchen and get 5 things going at one time. Get everything prepped out, get everything ready to go.
Because you have to move kind of quickly.
Yes, it does dry out quite fast.
Okay, so here you have it here, and I'll work on this. We've got some ingredients here. What am I doing over here?
Sure, you're going to make the honey syrup that goes on at the very end. So
Okay.
we've got water, and we've got honey, and we've got sugar.
Okay.
And we're going to put a zest of an orange or a zest of a lemon, or you could mix and match them depending on what your preference is on there.
This almost looks like about equal parts. A little less honey.
A little less honey.
Okay.
And we will do a bittersweet chocolate over here in the food processor. This is the filling.
Okay.
So again, we're going to get everything prepped out before we actually start the phyllo.
Okay.
Toasted almonds, sliced, slivered, however you pick them up. About a half a cup of sugar goes in here as well. And the chocolate for me is bittersweet, so I use about 62% dark. Cinnamon, again, your choice on it or not. About a tablespoon of cinnamon is
I think all the baklava I've had has a little cinnamon in it.
It is definitely a tradition. And just going to pulse it. You're going to break up those chocolate pieces.
Okay. Lindsay, do I want to bring this to a boil?
Yeah, it's going to boil for actually 10 minutes, and then you shut it off and you pour it over your final product.
Okay, and do the orange zest in here now?
Yep.
Okay, got my handy dandy microplane.
So the filling is done, and you could put whatever nuts you wanted in here. If you didn't have almonds, you wanted hazelnuts, you could chocolate hazelnut, chocolate peanut butter.
I think they use walnuts a lot too.
Walnuts,
yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
Pistachios would be wonderful in here as well. So that's your filling. I've got melted butter and a little bit of a pastry brush in there as well for the phyllo. So now that you've got your phyllo, best thing you do is unwrap it, get it laid out flat, and you will find the countertop that's got the most open space to it, so you can lay everything out at one time.
And those wet, just damp towels, paper towels, or we used here some clean dishcloths and just made them a little damp. Just keep it nice and moist.
Yep.
Because you can see how tender. I mean, they're paper thin.
Paper thin. I have the patience for it on most days. So we'll start with one piece here laying down. And if it does stick together a little bit, if you have 2 sheets that are stuck together, that's okay. Don't panic over it.
Okay.
This is a damp cloth that goes over it, so I lay the damp cloth first, and then I have a dry one over there to kind of weight down the top.
That's a good tip. Okay.
And you just brush.
Melted butter. This is kind of the glue.
Yep.
Makes it really rich.
If you want to take a shortcut, you can use just a little bit of pan spray.
Okay.
You don't get that butter flavor then, but it's much easier, much quicker to work with.
Okay.
And even if you want to brush that green dish there too, you definitely want to put a nice coat of butter on the bottom of this dish as well, so that phyllo does not stick.
You bet.
And here's the tedious part. So every time you rewrap your phyllo, and then every time you need it again, you've got to unwrap it.
So when does that filling come in?
We will do 8 sheets down first.
Okay. Because that's the key. It's just the layers of layers. Layers of goodness.
And the more and more you get comfortable working with phyllo, you can do 2 sheets at one time.
Just like keep buttering it?
Just keep buttering. And you can just dab it on. It doesn't need to be perfect because you
Okay.
are doing 8 layers, so it does all melt together.
Okay.
If you want to hit this one too right
You
away,
bet.
Amy. Like I said, the more and more you get skilled, the more you can do at a time. But if you're just starting out, have the patience to do one at a time.
Okay.
And we will lay on just one more sheet here. Go ahead, hit the
And this
butter.
is going to fit in like a small baking dish, like an 8x8, something like
Yep,
that.
and the recipe that was online is going to be for a 9x13-inch pan, and it
Okay,
tells you
like
in
a
that.
bigger one.
Yep,
Okay.
it tells you in the directions for that too.
Okay.
We're going to do a little bit smaller one.
And little pieces you serve of this because it's so incredibly rich. So.
Yep. All right, so we've got the first layer down. This
Okay.
is what we consider the crust.
Okay.
And you're just going to go ahead and press it on in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. That way,
Okay.
you know, if your phyllo is sticking when you're working with it or is
Okay.
drying out, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to let you do the butter here. And we're going to take that filling and you're
Fold
just,
it over like we did?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's just to make the right size for the dish that
Okay.
we have. And for the filling, you're just going to kind of take about a third of it, which comes out to be about a cup's worth or so.
I'll keep working on the dough. You know,
He's working with phyllo.
I know.
I'm excited.
Well, I have to tell you, we actually, sometimes you might want to pick up 2 boxes because this happens to be really perfect phyllo, but if it's been in the freezer section of, you know, the store for a little bit, sometimes it can really tear apart on you.
Yep.
This is fresh and wonderful, and this is easy, actually. I'm okay.
And when you buy a box, there's normally 2 rolls in there. You'll only need 1 roll, so freeze it, keep the other one frozen.
Okay.
Phyllo dough will keep for about a week or so in your refrigerator, but if you have it sitting out for a month, let's say, it'll probably get just dried
Yeah.
in your own refrigerator.
Yeah.
So keep it frozen as, until the day or before you need it.
Okay, I think we're ready for this one.
Yep, that looks about right.
So you put some of the coating down.
About a third layer of this.
Okay, another layer of that. I like this, and it doesn't have to be perfect.
It, you know, truthfully doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go with another layer of filling here.
Rustic, as I was talking earlier, that's what I like about Greek food. It's not all frou-frou and perfect, it just tastes really wonderful.
And like I said, the filling can be whatever you'd like, too. It doesn't have to be chocolate and almonds.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Me too.
And I like the idea of a little orange. I know some baklava has lemon, but I love the idea of a little
Chocolate and orange is one
Yeah.
of my favorite pairings.
All right, we're getting close here.
Yep.
So just keep layering and going and going.
Yep, and then we'll do one more for the vinyl top crust, and I'll
Okay.
put the rest of the filling in here.
And our syrup is starting to boil, but you want to really let that cook for about 10 minutes.
Yep,
you said,
it'll
Lindsay?
reduce down a little bit for you.
All right. We're going to keep going here and going and going. Full recipe. So the syrup just goes as the last kind of step.
You're going to bake it for an hour. After it gets
Okay.
out of the oven for an hour, pour the syrup over, let it sit overnight. For breakfast, you've got a wonderful
Oh,
baklava.
that would be a nice breakfast. Thanks so much, Lindsay.
You're
We're
welcome,
going to keep
Amy.
layering, and here's what it looks like when it's all done. We're going to put it on a plate. Look at how great that looks. Wow. Wow. Again, recipes on our website, and if you want to get a hold of Lindsay, have her come cook with you, her information is there as well. We'll be back.